Did you see the Squid Tips motorcycle guy video about you? We all want me to engage with the... Look, my issue with motorcycles is that they're loud and annoying, and the people who ride them are loud and annoying. It's not... The video's an hour and a half. I'm not disrespecting it. It's entirely possible that the Squid Tips video on motorcycles is backed by the facts and that he's correct on the empirics and what have you. The video addresses that and is actually pretty big. How are you going to address me finding motorcyclists loud and annoying? How do you debunk that? Do you feel the same about motorcycles you saw in Barcelona? No, because there weren't motorcycles in Barcelona. I saw mopeds, which I love. But you don't see people like getting the extra loud mufflers on the, or like the removing the mufflers on the mopeds so they can at 11 p.m. at you know 20 miles an hour. Loud pipes save lives because you're lane splitting, moron. Lane splitting should not be allowed. Flat out, like genuinely, I think that's crazy. F you. Why is that allowed? Wait in line, motherfucker. Because they take up less space? Yeah, and you're in your lane. You're in a lane. It doesn't matter. Lane splitting is safer for the rider. How? Because I don't want to die to some rear-ending me? I've been told it's for safety. A rear end for a motorcycle is disastrous. Yeah, it's almost like motorcycles are really dangerous. You know? It's almost like nothing. We have no choice but to allow them to break the lane rule that otherwise dictates traffic because they're so unarmored and dangerous to ride in, as evidenced by the high fatality rate that they instantly explode if you tap them from behind. I'll make it a personal attack if you bring it up, though. Like, if I say something broadly about how motorcycles are objectively fucking bad, which they are, by the way, like they just are, they're just bad, you know. Okay, hold on. Because a motorcycle is a mockery of nature's perfect creation, the horse. That's true. They have no utility, 60 miles per gallon on a $1,000 vehicle. Are motorcycles $1,000? Hey, you know what has infinite gas utility? A bicycle. No utility, Lamau, this man would have an awakening in Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia, a positive model for driver safety. Don't look at the statistics. Bicycles do all the things you complain about except being loud. I don't even know if you know what my criticisms are. What especially gets me about Vaush's opposition, he's in favor of bikes, e-bikes, scooters, mopeds, pretty much every type of two-wheel vehicle, so motorcycles. I think it's mainly just emotional dislike of motorcycles inherently. Yeah, that's true. Which he then assumes is substantiated, justifies his disdain with whatever half-remembered arguments he's ever heard against them, including unironically advocating car ownership despite simultaneously being so anti-car. He's even talked about... I mean, I would rather a person have a car than a motorcycle, yeah. And you're gonna give me like a, you know, like a...
Live. All right, let me...
Oh, you didn't tell me the guy criticizing me was hot.
Here for a second and say that I do in fact agree with a lot of what Vaush said in this.
You heard it here, folks. The issue's settled as far as I'm concerned. Weird title for a video in which he agrees with me, but I'll, you know, I mean, I'll take my dubs where I can. It's a battlefield out here, frankly. It's a very long video. Lol, the Thailand motor fatalities is quadruple that of America as a whole, but only 50% worse than Mississippi. Well, that's probably because people in Mississippi are killing themselves, you know. Does, like, letting the engine run in a closed garage count as a vehicular fatality? Because if so, I can see Mississippi, you know. I appreciate you giving motorbikes a chance. Whoa, wait, Mr. Wynn. I'm not giving motorbikes a chance. I've already said that, like, my hatred of motorcycles is pretty... It's from the soul. It's from the heart. And rhetorically, I'm in a nice position too, because I can always say like, well, I would rather a car than a motorcycle. But if somebody proves cars are better than that motorcycles are better than a car, then I can say, oh, well, it should be a bike anyway because of bike infrastructure. So I can worm my way out of any version of the argument. It's great. Being irrationally hated is biker culture. Well, wait, hold on. Bikes? I don't hate bikes. That doesn't exactly make you sound great. That's crazy, man. Go into your go into the grocery store and try a fucking fig. Try a kumquat. Oh, you don't want to? Why not? Logically, have you had them before? Do you know that you don't like them? You're being very irrational right now. You don't have to. I don't need to sit here and justify why I don't like if I make the arguments at the level I make the arguments, you know? I say I don't like motorcycles, they're loud and annoying. If you're like, well, I have the data to disprove that, you're disproving it on your level, but you're not speaking to me on my level, okay? My level, it's right here, you know? Don't give in to the need to like have all of your personal biases subsumed by this inhuman desire to rationalize. I don't blame the guy for wanting to defend motorcycles, you know, but I can hate whatever I want. You can too, because you think that what I'm doing is intellectually dishonest. It's the opposite. I'm being straightforward and forthcoming about the fact that my dislike of motorcycles is largely based on me just not liking them. That you're doing the opposite. You're the one seeking to have it all subsumed by the pretense of rationality. It's okay to just like and dislike stuff. You know, you're allowed to do that, right? Just because you like a thing I dislike doesn't mean either of us is in a position where we have to rationalize that. But that wasn't the entirety of your argument. Someone did make a 90-minute video because your argument was like, I just don't like them. Come on. Well, I have reasons why I don't like them, yeah. And if he disproved me on some of those, then that's fine. Though it doesn't... I don't think I've ever disliked something I couldn't rationalize, but I'm insane. You can rationalize it, but there's a difference between rationalizing why you feel a certain way and arguing like public policy over the adoption of motorcycles over cars on account of your like vibe dislike of motorcycles. You can rationalize whatever you want, man.
At traffic management, basically every condition you can imagine. I always loved riding bicycles, so motorcycle.
You said bikes are louder than cars. How the engines are literally smaller? Because they don't have the same like infrastructure around the engine that can make it make less noise. Like that's what a muffler is, right? Like a muffler needs to be large and... Well, some car engines will be louder, but nothing revs like a motorcycle with the muffler made outside. Like the engine's like right there, man. Like in the car, the engine's like shielded. You know, there's like a muffler. It's in the.
I want to start this conversation with mufflers because that was at the top of Vaush's complaints. He spent more time talking about them than anything else.
Yeah, I live in a city, and I think the motorcyclists are obnoxiously loud. You can make a motorcycle pretty quiet. It's just most motorcycle riders mod them to be louder. I wonder why motorcycle riders are antisocial dipshits.
And it's the most clear example of him going off the rails about something that he has no idea what he's talking about. The exhaust system of a motorcycle does reduce the noise of all the explosions coming from inside the engine, but it also adjusts the mixture of fuel and air going to the engine, increasing performance, improving fuel efficiency, and reducing wear on the motor. Since you get worse performance cutting off a muffler, what's more common is people getting a aftermarket system like this Hindle 3/4. These systems make the bike lighter and faster at the cost of capturing less emissions and being louder. Although a non-zero amount of
Well, so far this doesn't really, I guess, disprove what I'm saying.
People are going to have cut off their mufflers for the sound specifically and no other reason. This is what Vaush is hearing all the time and bitching about. If a sport bike is louder than the average, this is going to be the reason why. I only have the balls to take this off of this video because it fell off on the freeway while I was in the process of making this video. Coincidentally, I literally became the person that Vaush was bitching at people about. but for the not because I wanted to be, asshole.
I don't think this necessarily disproves the point. Also, in a vehicle impugning me for my irrational bias against motorcycles, having a bit like, yeah, my motorcycle broke down and I had to stop on the side of the highway. Like, that's, like, that to me is, this is insane. Like, that, like, it was literally just there connected by the little... the little bolt on the, I mean, shipwrecks and everything, it happens. Are you kidding me right now? You know, in a car, all of this stuff is in a box. That happens in cars too. What? Cars break down like this too. I genuinely, I need to like take a step back from this and wonder for a moment if you know what you're doing. Like, do I need to elaborate on this? Mufflers fall off cars all the time. Well, it's never happened to me. Why is chat arguing that Vaush loves cars? Because motorcyclists are insanely defensive. I drive a car pretty often, and I'm not defensive about driving a car at all. Motorcyclists are at best like a parallel option to cars, but motorcyclists will defend their shit with their lives, but lefty car owners won't. It's crazy.
Oh, it's gonna get all over my fucking white clothes. Fuck.
This has got to go on here one way or another. To use some technology.
But what is this?
A lot of Americans don't have an emergency fund that they can just throw at shit that's not critical, you know? But man, when you live anywhere in the city, but especially if you live downtown or near the highway, like shit is just loud, and it is weird to pick motorcycles out of that crowd and say that they are.
Wait. The highway is the aggregate of all the cars driving on it. We're comparing a car to a motorcycle. Bro, we're not... You can't, like, gaslight me. I've heard a motorcycle rev up and start down the street. I know what it sounds like. It's significantly louder than a car starting to move. You can't get around... Like, you're not gonna make me forget that. I've been next to a motorcycle as it revs up. It's insanely loud. And a car starting just sounds like a car starting. A car isn't that loud. If you're like, you can be right next to a car as it starts and then drives down. Don't you start. We're not talking mods or whatever. I'm just talking the average car versus the average motorcycle. Like, you can mod a car to be louder, but I'm just talking like stock or whatever. Unless every motorcycle I've ever been next to was modded, which if that's the case, that's like a cultural thing, you know? He just explained why loud motorcycles are loud. All motorcycles are loud.
Or an especially deleterious problem. I had to Google that word for this video. I'd never heard that word before. Thank you, Vaush, for using new words. I am glad to have learned that and added that to my vocabulary.
Deleterious.
Dude, they're at Pride in Seattle. They had like dykes on bikes with a bunch of lesbians with armpit hair on motorcycles, and that shit was so loud I had to like step away from the street. That was just like a dozen motorbikes driving in circles. I've been around cars driving right next to the road. It's not that loud. The loudest thing of a car driving by you is the whoosh of the wind, you know?
Yes.
I like learning and growing.
Or I guess like the wheels on the ground. It's like the wheels on the... Those are modded by... You're right. Every bike I've ever been next to has been modded. Every motorcycle, every time has always been modded. That's true.
I recorded a bunch of places for this video, and I was often disrupted by loud noises, but almost 0% of them were motorcycles.
Car noise, but that's not a... I'm just... What? Why not just accept the idea that motorcycles are really loud? It makes sense that they would be. There's less containing the engine. It's a lighter vehicle. There's not as much, like, stuff built around it that would muffle the noise. Scientifically raises anxiety and aggression levels in a population. All animals respond to this high noise. Yes, 100%. Yeah. It's one of the reasons why people say city life is so anxiety inducing. It's what's the thing that Not Just Bikes always says? Cities aren't loud, cars are loud. And it's true. You know, you can go... Not Just Bikes has a video on a town that basically has like no traffic because of the way they've laid everything out and designed. Some data for you. I'm gonna take my left nut. I'm gonna take my right nut. I'm gonna crush you. Okay, sound emission level, decibels, and speed. This isn't about the this isn't about the noise from the engine revving. This is about the noise of the tires on the ground. Otherwise the speed would be irrelevant. The speed has nothing to do with the engine revving. The engine revving is what happens when you're at 0 kilometers per hour because you're starting. Like, why does it start at 30? This is talking about the noise of the wheels on the road, which is obviously less for the motorcycle. Like, they're talking about coasting here. This doesn't have to do with the engines revving, you know? How do you know? How do I know? Because this makes no sense if it's measuring the volume of the engine revving. Why would that be adjusted by speed? Like, this is just the sound of the tires on the road. Have you never been next to a motorcycle? Like, I genuinely feel like I'm getting gaslit by you people. All of you have been next to a car as it starts up and then goes down the road. If you ever walked on a sidewalk adjacent to a road, you've heard this. Have you never been at a four-way stop and then a car stops at a stop sign and then keeps going? It barely makes any noise. Have you ever been next to any motorcycle as it revs up? You like, this is what I mean, dude. This is the shit that makes me crazy. Why can't you just say that a lot of my bias about safety or like I'm being partial in some way? Like, are you kidding? You're really gonna argue on that point? Because it's not true. You're genuinely psychotic. You're actually psycho. What is it with you motorcycle people, man? You are just wrong, Vaush. Revs up, yeah, another classic Vaush take. What are you talking about? Yeah, you rev an engine? I'm sorry, am I not using the hip motorcyclist lingo? Is there like a term that I'm unfamiliar with that means the same thing? You don't rev an engine, you like squiggly the engine? What do you want? You skibbity it? It depends on the style of bike. Well, that's the case for everything ever. Yet you all are gonna do to me with motorcycles how I felt about weed, man. Like, you're pushing me further and further. I mean, I don't know whether or not this article is reliable, but like, this is what I've said. Yeah, motorcycles generally loud because there's not a ton of room to add noise reducing design elements or equipment. Like, I don't know, it just seems like you don't have to rev the engine, yet they do that every time. I've never heard a motorcycle quietly take off from 0 miles per hour to higher. Spoiler alert near the end of the video, he says you owe apologies to Contra and Professor Flowers. Wait, really? Okay. And stuff. And the city is super quiet, even in relatively dense areas. Because without cars, what's the loudest shit in a city, man? It's gonna be like, what? People talking? What's the noise from? Birds?
The reality of city life is that it's kind of loud, and it's loud for a lot of reasons. My bike is the loud.
You'll notice the noise of cars that pass by you is not their engines. You very rarely hear car engines. What you hear is the sound of their tires on the road. That's the volume you get from cars. I mean, obviously, like if a car is revving, like doing the thing where you put it in like neutral or whatever, yeah, sure. But when you hear cars, for the most part, it's the sound of the wheels on the ground.
It's kind of loud, and it's loud for a lot of reasons. My bike is the loudest when it is going the fastest, and when it is going the fastest is when I am on the highway. Highways like I-5 here usually run right through the major cities because that's where we've chosen to put most of our sound pollution. Even cars without loud mufflers make a lot of noise because 4 wheels or more slam.
But that's talking about the sound of the wheels on the road. I'm talking about the sound of the engine revving. Like, have you guys not just been, it's been like relatively late at night and then you hear from outside, vroom, 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 and it's because a motorcyclist went from 0 to 60 real quick or whatever. Yeah. Like, that's always a motorcyclist, I guess. Not always. Some people can do it with cars, but like, yeah, that's pretty much always a motorcyclist. I hear that outside my condo every night. I don't know why they're trying to like gaslight us. Dude, that's literally what I experience every night. Yeah, I genuinely don't know. Like, what is the point of arguing that? Like, you're not... I just don't get it. Why?
Slamming over the ground over and over and over all day long is fucking loud. Highways are where semi-trucks go. Those vehicles with 50,000 plus pounds and 18 wheels. Those braking systems are also loud as shit. Oh yeah. Love that. Ah! Hold on.
I don't know why we're talking about the pneumatic brakes or the hydraulic brakes of buses and trucks. I don't know what that has to do with my stuff.
What's that bus?
This is, by the way, much quieter than a motorcycle revving up at the same distance from you.
Beautiful sound of public transit. You know, some people convert from bicycles to motorcycles, but for the most part, people are converting to motorcycles from cars. People that swap to a motorcycle are part of the solution in a city. They are reducing their overall noise and pollution.
See, so this is, again, this is what I mean. This, to me, just comes across as, like, delusional partisan. Like, when I have a vibe and I don't like motorcycles, I can admit to that, but why are you arguing against the factually correct position that a motorcycle revving is much louder? You know, like, I just don't get it. I don't understand what motivates that. I don't know. I don't get it. He can't tell because his hearing's damaged from the motorcycle. Yeah.
Output, they are shrinking themselves, and they are making more space for other people on the roadway. So when I see people like Vaush go off on motorcycles, it indicates...
But that's not true. Motorcycles may be physically smaller, but on the roadway, they still take up as much space. The barrier around the motorcycle, the, like, space around it is larger because you're still limited by the lane system. Like, a motorcycle in mixed traffic is going to have around... Yeah, it's got the same, like, hitbox. You know what I mean? You have to give them the space, not with lane splitting. No, okay, but the lane splitting isn't fixed by more motorcyclists. And you're just going to have, like, a bunch of motorcyclists lane splitting through motorcyclists? You have to make a lot of space for motorcyclists. You can have 4 motorcycles in the same area as 1 car. Can you please not say shit if you're only a straw dummy put up to make me look smarter? My ego's fine. It doesn't need any more. You cannot have 4 motorcycles touching tips at speed. Just because you can fit them that close together in a parking situation doesn't mean that you're having fucking the fucking Roman phalanx of motorcycles and interlocking defense. 50 motorcycles in the space of 1 bus. No, come on.
To me that there's something else at the core of this issue. And unlike other internet people whose closest brushes to violence are when people dox them, motorcycle riders experience real violence in the real world. That's why I find this...
Wait, what?
Whose closest brushes to something else at the core of this issue. And unlike other internet people whose closest brushes to violence are when people dox them, motorcycle riders experience real violence in the real world. That's why I find this nonchalant...
So, just a weird segue.
...attitude that people like Vaush have towards calling for violence against motorcycle riders to be...
Whoa, what? Wait, what?
Really disgusting. Let me show you how his words and attitude manifest in the real world.
Wait, what words did I say? Like, everyone hates you. Quit being selfish. You live in a community, in a society. I'm not joking. Quit being selfish. Nobody likes you. You're like the motorcyclists who take the mufflers off, so everyone within a quarter mile is subjected to deafening noises purely to signal to everyone that you have a tiny penis. Like, stop.
In the current
I was cooking with that.
online politics culture, there are a lot of sarcastic calls to violence. You know exactly what...
Oh, wait, that really? Vaush's dangerous rhetoric? Do you think he's ever seen the stuff that I say about car drivers?
This looks like, say a shitty opinion and then add in a video game. Like, that's just some universal way of transforming an irresponsible statement into a funny joke. I think all that's pretty cringe because this is not how people who are mentally prepared to commit violence actually talk. It's just edgy internet shit. And that's why I generally don't give a fuck when I hear it. But
wait, I think it's supposed to be edgy internet shit. I don't think people who do the in Minecraft bit are attempting to signal a genuine intention to commit violence. It's the opposite.
Vaush's rant was different in a couple of ways.
I really do think that it's in large part due to like social anomie, because I really think that in a functioning society, any motorcyclist who removed their muffler, once they had to stop at a red light, they actually would be like beaten by a mob. Okay, so some people might think I'm exaggerating here because I often do. I want to make it clear that I'm not. I actually think that in a functioning society. Okay, by the way, I just want to be clear about this, okay? To the people who deliberately mod their bikes to be so loud that when you're next to them when they rev down the street, when I'm walking down the street at like 11:13 p.m. after a night out on the town, and then some dumb fuck runs by with a 110 decibel hyper engine that's been modded to fuck that actually physically leaves my ears ringing. No, fuck you. You assaulted me. I'm not joking. I'm genuinely not joking. It is assault. It is vastly louder than the house parties that people get public disorderly, or not public nuisance charges against them for. I like, no, fuck that. Genuinely. He conveniently left out the part about the woman who got her eardrum perforated by a motorcycle. You can literally deafen you, these things, and they are entirely the only reason these mods are being done. Like they're being done to make it louder. We're already talking about something like a stock motorcycle is going to hurt to be around when it revs up, but like this can actually injure you. Oh, that's not assault. It's very annoying. No, it is assault, 100%. If you have like a sound system that can injure people or deafen them, and then you go and blast people in the ear with it, that's assault. Yeah. You're removing the muffler from a motorcycle is a deliberate decision that does nothing but cause hearing damage to people. It's literally, what if for no reason I made everyone around me upset, you know? Like genuinely, I genuinely think that in a functioning society it would be met with like some degree of like violent response. Like it's insane to me that like the cities don't crack down on that, you know? Those people should be arrested.
First, and as we just went over, calling for violence against motorcycle riders when you clearly don't understand motorcycles or the traffic management.
Are we all realizing that this is actually kind of bad faith? Leaving aside the weird framing and the like gaslighting about the motorcycle volume, this is very obviously about people who mod their motorcycles to the point where it can injure other people. This is like the idea of this being like interpreted and framed as a call for violence against motorcyclists is delusional. Like that's, yeah.
System is a pretty fucking shitty thing to do. Second, he expressly stated that this wasn't a joke. And you can say, well, that's just another layer.
Like, see, this is like performative pantomime bullshit. The same reason why he was running around showing, you know, video of the five or going up to a bus and like, buses are loud when they brake, as if that has anything to do with my argument.
Of sarcastic meta humor, but like, at what point do you have to actually own the fucking things that you say?
I owned it. Wait, what do you mean? I never didn't own that statement. Why is he pretending that I was like doing some disingenuous backpedaling after that one? I never owned, I didn't do an in Minecraft there. I'm not doing it now. Those motorcyclists are assaulting people.
Say.
My wife had her eardrum ruptured from no muffler. She was in a tunnel and he revved right next to her when she had the window open. Holy shit, Xsteady. I'm so sorry to hear that. Jesus fucking Christ. Immediate violence? Yeah, that's like a draw on the motorcycle next to you with your fucking car gun moment right there. Holy shit.
But what saps all the humor?
His wife's eardrum was ruptured. Are we like... That really happened.
About the situation for me is that I've had like a dozen people initiate violent conflict on me using their car.
Why wouldn't you say the problem's loud vehicles, then not specifically motorcycles? Because for one, if you mod your car to do the same, then I feel the same way. But let's be real here, it's mostly motorcyclists, and motorcycles by default are a lot louder. An unmodded motorcycle is just hellish to be right next to when it revs up. The video I linked isn't modded. I don't... This is like a... I don't know what point this can make. I don't know why you're being defensive about this. If this car is going to be like so crazy loud that it can hurt people that are next to it, then I don't think it should be road legal. I don't think that should be road legal. But in my lived experience, like you're not going to catch me out here defending $300,000 ultra loud Lamborghinis or whatever. But like day to day, when I hear the super loud rev that hurts the ears, it's the motorcyclist. Like, I'm not gonna, you know.
And their guns, and justifying it by saying that my behavior on my motorcycle was dangerous.
What? Wait, is he owning the position of being the guy in the tunnel whose eardrum ruptured, or who ruptured the eardrum of the wife of the person who posted? On the motorcycle next to you with your fucking car gun moment right there. Holy shit.
But what sad one was when it detected saying that my clicked on me using their cars and their guns, and justifying it by saying that my behavior on my motorcycle was dangerous.
So in the example, it ruptured an eardrum. I don't. I can't. I'm not watching this entire thing, man. How cars make you poor and unhappy. I agree. I'm not pro car culture. Cars are more dangerous than motorcycles to people outside the vehicle. Yeah, not to people on the vehicle. That is true, though, in that context. Car infrastructure is unsustainable. That's true. But bikes rely on it. Like, motorcycles go on the roads that cars go on. Like, there are some things that motorcycles can do that cars can't when it comes to infrastructural development, but nobody's building out their cities to be exclusively built around that. Like, does this guy even watch you? Apparently he used to watch me and now thinks that I need to apologize to Contra and Professor Flowers. So I can tell what kind of demographic, you know, like what kind of like point they stopped watching me we might be referring to here. Please, if you upload this, I checked his sources. He does not cite the graph he showed that cars are louder. I checked for almost 30 minutes now. Every single source I can find says the motorcycles are louder. I don't know what chart you're referring to.
The most famous one was when a detective drew his gun on me while I was just sitting in traffic, waiting to go to work back in 2017.
How you doing?
Oh shit! What are you doing to me?
What do you mean? What am I doing?
What are you?
Fucking driver.
Hi, why do you have a gun on me? I'm unarmed. I'm an I will pull over. I'm unarmed.
Take your ID right now.
I'm going to
take your ID out. You move to this bike, I'm gonna dump you.
If you're looking for the
Jesus Christ.
logic and why he snuck up from behind me and pointed a gun at my chest, well, don't waste too much time because he's a cop and cops just make shit up.
That's
the
true.
real reason is that I sped past him in traffic. And so when he caught up to me at that stoplight,
I personally find the insinuation that my rhetoric has anything to do with a cop drawing on someone for cutting them off in traffic. Like that my rhetoric of if your revving blew out the eardrum of my wife, that I would like be violently inclined towards you, that's the same as a cop getting mad because you passed them. I find that disgusting. That's incredibly dishonest. Yeah, like, well, come on. Like, why even bring this in here, man? By association? Our cars make you poor and unhappy. Cars manage motorcycles. Breaking out of car brain. I do not have car brain. I have the opposite of car brain.
why? When I took my motorcycle license training course all those years ago, I came in with almost zero experience. I'll emphasize this. They really only share the most superficial similarities as far as controls, techniques, and strategies. We in the motorcycle community call this car brain.
Line of motorcycle or of like motorist technology, right? I don't know.
I think a reasonable question one might ask is, what makes a motorcycle worth it for me?
And then people say, well, it's fun to ride them. Like, man, I'm sure it is. I don't know if that should like validate an entire fucking basically obsolete line of motorcycle or of like motorist technology, right? I don't know.
I think
I've seen this guy is actually a huge asshole driver who posts rage bait clips. Is he? How many altercations does this guy get into? Oh, whatever.
the things that really separates us from the high, really off the top of the charts.
Charge. I hated doing mechanical work on cars because they're so large, some getting way more than that, and electric motorcycles get hundreds.
Dude, are we kidding? Are you seriously? Fuel efficiency, man? Get an e-bike. Fucking, you really think the median mode of transportation should be something where if you fall to the side, you get fucking scraped in half? Jesus.
Hundreds of miles in a single charge. I hated doing mechanical work.
Their arm out. My kid ends up with a broken arm. says that the most
it really doesn't seem like there's anything to engage with in this video. Like, I don't think I'm going to learn from this at all. If anything, I've been like really cemented in my anti-motorcycle. Like, again, the same thing happened, man. I have like a vibe take. It's like the weed thing. I have a vibe take, and then yeah, I don't like it. You know, here are the reasons why I don't like it. And then people are like, yo, this video debunks you, man. 90 minutes. It's good faith. It's good faith. And then I watch it, and fully 10 minutes of it are trying to lie to me about the volume of motorcycles, and then a lot of it is just, it seems like a lot of this stuff is just kind of cut together and isn't really a specific response to me. Why I stopped watching Vaush. Wow. Oh wow, women be quieter and stop apologizing challenge. That's crazy, man. That's what my 90-minute motorcycle video needed, a 10-minute segment on Vaush bad, with that of all things. All right, where's the timestamp that Tempest gave me?
Opportunity to provide me feedback on his platform of choice.
All video essayists despise the concept of debate because they're bad at it.
As a token of good faith, I am willing to invest in Vaush's growth by arranging a time to meet up with him around the Seattle area somewhere, and I will teach him to ride a motorcycle on my motorcycle.
No, motorcycles are for losers. Sorry, man. No, thank you.
Not this one, my stunt bike. Are you fucking kidding me? What I've learned from years of experience is that the easiest way to assuage anyone's concerns about motorcycles is just to put them on one. Obviously, I speak for...
It's not. I mean, I can spoil my engagement with you if you want. I would go on the motorcycle and then I'd rev it and I'd be like, holy shit, that's loud. All right, I'm done. I don't like loud noises. I'm pulling the autism card on this one, man. That would be my engagement. Motorcycles are so goddamn loud that helmets are engineered to muffle noise to protect your eardrums. Listen, man. No getting away from the fact that a motorcycle is thrilling, but it's easy to forget that among all the adrenaline and thrills, there's the risk of long-term or permanent damage to your ears. Huh, that's funny. That's crazy. You know, I'm never warned of that risk for having the car window down while I drive. You can have the car window down on the freeway, and it'll be loud out there, but permanent ear damage? No, not unless something specific happens. Interesting. Keep watching. Well, I'll keep watching, yeah. It's because of the wind, not the engine. Noise from the engine, the exhaust damage your ears. Well, they're correct. The fact these are key contributors. Can the wind damage your ears? Absolutely the risk to your ears is actually wind noise. Common occurrence for the wind to get inside your helmet cause harm to your ears. Oh yeah, I can see that being an issue. Does your thinking apply to public rock concerts? Yeah, you should always bring earplugs to a... Wait, do you mean like... Wait, what do you mean? Do you mean like having a rock concert on my residential street at 11:13 p.m.? What do you mean? The wind thing does seem like a serious concern, though. I get that. Me revving the rock concert next to the school bus.
For nobody but myself, and I do think he owes a lot of people apologies. ContraPoints would definitely be one. Professor Flowers would be another, but...
Yeah, I don't know about this one, guys. It's crazy the heat that a white man will take for saying that motorcycles are loud. You know, they're trying to crucify me like Christ.
My forgiveness is not contingent on repairing those relationships.
Well, your forgiveness? For you presumptuous fuck. Okay, no, that's enough. Oh my God. You can't, as a white guy, you can't say shit, man. You're out here like, hey, I don't like it when a motorcyclist revs directly in front of the baby carriage that I'm pushing around with my loving wife, and someone on YouTube's going to be like, why are you the guy who pointed a gun at me back in 2016 when I cut off a detective, you know? Yeah. All right. And you know what? You all got 40 more minutes of stream for it. So maybe actually Squid Tips was the real hero. I really recommend you talk to some bikers. We're not all bad. Come on. I don't think all people who ride motorcycles are bad. I think two things. One, motorcycles on average are way the fuck louder when they rev up. In a city where you frequently stop and start in order to continue moving. Red lights, stop signs, other cars, traffic, people moving across the whatever, you know, that noise is substantial. And you're not gaslighting me. It's not fucking $300 Lambos doing that shit. It's not people's kitted, like, street riders. It's motorcycles. A lot of them. And not all of them are modded. Motorcycles are just loud when they stop and start. That's how it is. And number two, I think that motorcyclists often are antisocial douchebags. Not all of them. There are plenty of car guys who are. I just think, I don't know, man. It's just a lot of them fucking mod their motorcycles in ways that I find disagreeable.